Welcome to the Oak, Alice. I understand you are 13 years old. That is a goodly age for a dairymaid. And that you're from Wedgbury. Well, hopefully that's far enough away that you won't steal any food to feed your family. We don't want to see you running off with a cheese under each arm and a dozen of the master's spoons in your petticoats. But I'm sure, young Alice, that you've been brought up well, which is good as this is a godly household. So, let's look at your muscles, young Alice, for this is a very hard job. There is lots of hard work. Are you up to it? Let's see those muscles. Call those muscles? My goodness, wench, they are naught but pigeons' kneecaps. But it matters not, for the work will soon make you strong. You will need to take the cows out into the field. We will tell you which field to take them to make sure there is plenty of grass for them to graze upon. And then your job will be to milk the cows. You must get up at 4 a.m. and have milked the cows by 6. You will milk them again in the evening. Before you milk the cows, wash your hands, for we do not wish for impurities in the butter, the milk or the cheese. And also warm your hands up first, for you do not want to give the cows a shock with your cold hands on the rudders. The cows also sometimes like you to sing to them, but no naughty or scurrilous songs, mind. The master would not approve, for he is very God-fearing. So, when you have done the milkings, you must bring the milk back to the dairy. You must keep the dairy spotlessly clean. You must scrub it as often as can be, and you can use rosemary from the herd patch to help to scrub, and that will keep away insects and any impurities. You must leave the milk to settle, either all day or overnight. And once it is settled, the cream will separate from the milk. For then you will need to skim the cream from the top of the milk and put it into a bowl so that the cream is kept separate. For the cream you are going to use to make the butter and the milk you will put to one side to make the cheese. Once we have all our cream, you can put it into the butter churn. But you must sift it into the butter churn using cheesecloth. This is to make sure that any impurities are strained out of the cream. For we do not want hair from the cows or soil or grass from the field going into the butter or the cheese. Once you are ready, you can start to churn your cream into butter. It's hard work, my girl. And you will hear that noise that sounds like churning. And eventually, it takes a long time, my girl, you will start to hear a different noise. It will sound more like patting or splatting than it does sound like churning. And this means that you are nearly ready and that the buttermilk has separated from the butter. At this point, when you have the buttermilk separated from the butter, you can remove the butter and put the buttermilk into a jug. The master gives the buttermilk to the poor every week, but he doesn't mind if you keep a cupful for yourself to keep your strength up. Once we have the butter, you can then use the butter pats that can pat the butter into a nice square. This will also help to get rid of any more buttermilk that is left within the butter. So you might have been able to pat the butter into a nice square shape. This is then ready for the master's table. He may want smaller pieces of butter, however, or even butter in little moulds. if he has some very important guests arriving. If you wish to keep the butter a little longer, you will need to put it into a crock. Here is the crock, and you will need to layer it into the crock with butter and with salt, and then it will keep a goodly time. Make sure you put a layer of salt on the top too. You're then ready to make your cheese. So you have your milk that you scraped off the cream to make your butter. So we're going to get that milk back out, and we're going to add to that milk the next milkings of the day. We then need to heat it up, but no more than to blood temperature, Alice. For if you heat it too much, the cheese will be stringy and will not taste good, and Master Turton will punish you for sure. You can put the milk near to the fire, but watch it, remember, blood temperature and no more. Then we must add to the milk rennet, which we have from the stomach of a newborn calf. This rennet will help separate the milk into curds and whey. Once it is separated, you can strain off the whey, and this can go to the kitchen, because the farmhands will drink that for their breakfast in the morning. Once you have the curds, and they will look quite lumpy, they can go into the cheese mould. But before you put the curds in, you will need to put in another cheesecloth into the mould. Then put in your curds, and you can put the lid on your cheese mould. Now you need to press the cheese, and here is our cheese press. And using these little wooden wedges, you will slowly press the cheese in the cheese mould, which will be inside, over 30 hours. You must change the cheesecloth, Alice, 5 or 6 times every day. And once all of the rest of the liquid has been pressed out of the cheese, you'll see there's holes in the bottom to get rid of any excess liquid, and to press the cheese into a nice shape, then you will have a cheese that you will be able to salt and to dry, and then it can go into the cheese store upstairs. But it's not ready yet, Alice, for you will need to keep it for 30 days before it is ready to eat. And you will need to turn it each day to ensure the rind is formed and the cheese is ready to eat. We eat quite a lot of cheese here at the Oak, not just the master, but also us servants. We don't eat meat on a Wednesday or a Friday, for this is a goodly household. We eat instead the white meat, which we also know as cheese. So you will have plenty of the cheese, Alice, that you will be making. This is a busy farm also, Alice, so you will have other duties too. You may be asked to feed the chickens or collect the eggs in the morning. You may be asked to look after the bees, which we keep for honey to sweeten our food, for sugar is muchly expensive. We also keep the bees for the beeswax to make the master's candles for his table. You may also be asked to help in the herb garden or the vegetable patch, or even asked to help to brew the beer that we have. We drink muchly beer at the Oak, and there is plenty of brewing to be done. Anyway, Alice, be about your work. You now know what you need to do, for it is time for me to go and break my fast, and I will find myself some cheese and some bread and some small beer to quench my thirst. Be about your work, wench.